there, my name is Naz. I'm the startup leading influencer of Web Content Specialists. Here I so invite yourself Ian Moyse, who's #1 ranked on Analytica for cloud computing. He's a great guy. We only just met today, and we're going to talk to you about sort of cloud computing and how it's actually implementing the startup. But before we go ahead with this, I'd just like to hear a few words from Ian Moyse himself. He's a great influencer in the game and really penetrating the market. Ian, what's your take on yourself and how you sort of came into the game?
Thanks for the flattering introduction. So I got into cloud accidentally 10 years ago. It wasn't because it was called cloud, it was more just happened to fall into a technology area.
Right.
And then I've got passionate over that period in learning more about it and the impact it can have on businesses and individuals,
Right.
because of what it can enable,
Right.
what it can deliver. And a lot of people are getting that benefit or utilising it in their lives without even realising it. They haven't chosen it because I want some cloud.
Yes.
They've utilised it because of the end result it gives to them.
gives.
And it just happens to be a cloud-based technology they're using, whether it's through a lot of mobile applications. People don't realise it's really a cloud application. It's just delivered and visualised to you through this local app. So it's an exciting area. I think we're still at the foundation stage of this market, although everyone thinks this year is the year of cloud.
Yeah.
I think it's expanding and growing, but we've got a long way to go, and it's going to change and disrupt an incredible amount of the way we do things.
Right, that's a great intake in terms of how Ian Moyse has actually explained it, his professionalism and his experience. He's been in the game for nearly, over 10 years
Just
now?
over 10 years in cloud and 30 years in technology and IT.
I think that's a brilliant influencer in the game, and very much he's actually leading in terms of, he's always active on Twitter, you can follow him on LinkedIn and so forth. A little bit about myself is I'm the startup of web content. I own Web Content Specialists. I'm the startup influencer, and here I'm actually interviewing top influencers like Ian Moyse, who's actually giving his come out of his time to give his free time to in terms of talking about cloud computing. So before we go ahead with that, I'd just like to say that it's a privilege actually interviewing Ian Moyse, because I think it's very hard to engage with top influencers. And like himself, who's actually very ranked #1 on Analytica, it's a great way to sort of talk about cloud computing and what his views are. So I'm hoping that we can learn something from this video interview, and please do share this among others. So Ian, what can businesses do in terms of sort of implementing cloud computing into their startup?
So I think there was a lot of hype for a while of everything's going to go cloud, everyone's going to be all in cloud. There was a lot of hyped terms and different vendors came out with, and we're past that cycle now. And the reality is businesses should be looking at not where do I use cloud, what would I do today differently if I was doing a startup?
Right.
Because what I see is a lot of businesses have got hooked into legacy. We do it because that's the way we always did it,
Right.
or the way we had to do it because of the technology was available to us at the time, or what was affordable to us.
Yes.
So what I encourage people to do is think, if we were doing this business today, in the market we're in today, with the market dynamic and the customer type and their demands today, how would we better do this? Forget all the barriers and the technology you've got, and we can't do it because of this. Just whiteboard, think openly, let the obstacles come back in later, but think about how would we better deliver service to customers or product to customers, or how would we better operate in our business more effectively? What would we do if we could do anything? No barriers. Think about that, whiteboard that out, and then think, okay, how close can we get to that panacea? And how close does new technology, compared to what we're using today, enable us to do that?
Right.
That will then lead you into, well, what cloud platforms and applications and opportunities are out there that would fit some of these gaps, rather than there's this cloud thing, how do I utilise it? I think it's the wrong way. You need to look inside out.
Yes.
It's a different approach to come into this. And then what you'll find is actually, there's areas of our business where if we could do that, it'd be fantastic, and we could grow and we could be more nimble and agile, great. How do we do it if we didn't have this system? Well, on the market there's this particular system which would enable that.
I guess.
It's not we want that system, we want the outcome it would give us. Then start looking, that will drive you to what you should look at, and it might be you've got 10 core business applications, pull that out of the air. And there might be 2 or 3 that if you could operate and change what they were, because they're holding you back and they're not enabling you to maybe interact with customers through a mobile interface, or the delivery mechanism of your quote to when you collect cash in your business is far too long, and this would shorten it by 50%. What impact would that have? Wow, that's where we focus. Now what are the options in that market? And what you'll find with cloud applications, and the beauty of this is they're affordable to any business. Legacy application, when we go back...
When you say it's affordable, in terms of in what aspect? In terms of companies inputting the software, or is it sort of the way the businesses it's more cheaper now to actually get cloud computing onto their systems, or how do you see it?
Well, what we saw before, if you go back 15, 20 years in technology, the average company out there might say, well, we want this platform.
Was paying much more.
But they couldn't choose the platform the big company used. So there'll be, whether it's ERP, CRM, manufacturing systems, etc. You'd find the average size company would use different brand systems to the larger ones, because the larger ones could afford the deployment, the complexity and the licensing of the rich systems, the rich function that would help us. But the smaller company would look at it and go, we love that, we love what they do, but we can't afford the systems they have, and that would impede them. What clouds really help deliver is more flatten that system, where I can digest this powerful application and have it for 30 users, where a corporation might say they want it for 3,000 users. But think about this, I haven't got to deploy it, I haven't got to go complex database systems.
Great tip, guys.
All these boxes. You know, typically the deployment of those products in legacy was, I have to go and buy all the boxes, and if that's a complex product, actually setting it up and the skills needed for it were too expensive for me to be able to afford as a small business. So I can't have that system. A lot of systems were chosen based on affordability. With cloud, mostly, I would say mostly.
In which systems would you sort of recommend in terms of cloud computing?
Well,
I mean,
you go across
different
different platforms, right? Whether it's
Microsoft Cloud,
it's CRM, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Oracle, etc.
Salesforce, yes.
These are affordable now. So it isn't the price barrier has pretty much been neutralised. So it's now you have more freedom of choice of what do I need it to do, rather than what can I afford to choose that's available to me for my size of business. And I think in the UK, 99% of businesses, 98, 99% are sub 250 employees. So it's great, these enterprise
Are more
systems.
businesses in actually sort of implementing cloud into their systems now, or do you think there is actually a shortage of companies inputting cloud in terms of the way their turnover is and their market expenses and so forth?
So adoption is accelerated.
Yes.
What we saw before was that there was a slow getting into this, because unless you understood it was like a grey area. It just feels scary, and where's my data and all these things. Those questions are still out there, right? And we'll probably come on to that in a second. There's still some impeders that worry people about taking on cloud in their business. But I sit on the governance board of the Cloud Industry Forum, and each year we do a research and independent statistics around the industry in the UK, Europe and US. Cloud adoption is one of those key points. And what we've seen is once someone's taken the first cloud service, they tend to be quicker to move into the second and third, because they've realised that they've gone over that hurdle of emotive response and realised how quick it can be, the impact it can have. So we're seeing an acceleration now of customers with 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 cloud services across their business that they've elected to use. The other thing I'd throw into that, though, is a lot of businesses have probably got more cloud being used in their business than they would consciously realise, because there's a term called shadow IT. In simple terms, what that means is employees bringing technology into the business to enable them to do their jobs better, but having not gone through the official channel of IT. For example, the mobile phone. Bring your own device. A lot of people use their mobile phone at work and have their work email on it, but it's their device.
Yes.
And they've set it up because someone else showed, oh, you've got yours working, here's mine. They haven't gone to IT, and IT often doesn't know. What we're now seeing with cloud is a term called bring your own application, where the marketing department might have turned on a marketing application.
Businesses can go online now, even on
their
phone.
You can sign up an application to use in your business, but there's nothing to implement. So often we see a department decide, there's this application that would really enable, marketing's a common one, when marketing have taken on an inbound or outbound marketing product like Eloqua, Marketo, HubSpot, and it hasn't gone through IT, because there's nothing to implement, there's nothing to install, it's all web-based. So the marketing director, with his own budget, has seen it as a marketing tool, not a technology, signed it up, got it running, and off they go. So the business is using a cloud application, but IT often wasn't involved or has no awareness that's in use, which does have some implications and concerns, but also it's enabling departmental empowerment of why do they choose that? because it's not the technology issue, it's what's that going to do for what I need to do. As a marketeer, it's going to enable me to go faster, quicker, drive more business. I've done it, and I've done it quicker than I could have done before. I haven't had to go through 6 months of technology appraisals, figuring it out. Often it's a few weeks, and I've got something in and running. But you go back 20 years ago, it would have been taking 6 months to figure out and even start implementing. So you can move quickly these days.
This is
It's all
great.
about agility and being nimble in business.
That's great advice, Ian. I think it's very important that businesses actually sort of take your advice in terms of the way cloud computing has changed over the years, and sort of input it more in terms of the way things are done now, especially internally as well as externally. With your experience, what's one thing that businesses can take away in terms of cloud computing? What is an improvement aspect of cloud computing?
So I'll say two. One is an improvement in their behaviour towards it. And I'll give you a second one.
Do you mean behaviour in terms of behavioural marketing, behavioural with their customers?
Their behaviour and attitudes. So I talk about this often. What holds businesses back in today's market isn't the technology being available or affordable.
Right.
Okay. What I see, it's their willingness, attitude, and ability to change.
Right.
So often, and I've been through this with companies of different sizes and different stages in development in different markets. What's slowing
I
them?
think, Ian, we have a few seconds left because I think the video is actually going to cut out. But Ian is going well with